Today I will answer your important questions and clarify that people live on the basis of prejudice. There is often a big difference between what is said and what is done in practice. By analysis, you will easily determine the accuracy of this statement. You say that politicians promise one thing and do another, but most people do that, more or less. That's why marketing reigns supreme today. Say what others, or yourself, would like to hear, and then you'll figure out what's behind it. Either think of it or change it spontaneously, unconsciously, find excuses why you should believe in your words. Specifically, work. A totally overrated term. Some says it is a basic human right. In that name, under the guise of saving questionably useful jobs, incredible concessions are made, although, usually, there are embezzlements and frauds behind it. Questionable useful jobs, not to be confused, this term is for a separate video. Useful jobs in the sense that they are not just to pay for lunch and give the boss earnings. But let's let the details go now. If work is a basic human right, why are there thousands of unpaid and underpaid workers? Because you fulfill the right? Here it is, you work, should we be happy and without pay? There is truth in that as well in a way. Are you aware of how many jobs are fictitious, made up to spend 8 hours flipping through something, which in reality is completely unnecessary, although, of course, it is well explained what it is for. Starting with the administration, the army, various types of jobs that serve to introduce order and protection, and which themselves create disorder. From whom do you defend and what do you put in order?
Yourselves. From each other under different excuses. If your answer is it has to exist, remember how many times you hate bureaucracy and claim you don't want wars? However, in one sentence, you can explain why you need a passport, a tank or an atomic bomb. Let's get back to work. You think everyone works, so this program, doing nothing, is a joke or an illusion? Incorrectly. There have always been wise men who take the place of the emperor, the sorcerer, the priest. Some work more, some less. The job description is easily invented and justified by necessity. So it lasts as long as it lasts. The only chance for the human race to survive is to realize that it is better to stay home, and use the Doing Nothing program, until they realize what jobs are really needed. And it will happen, and it is already happening, by grace or force. Therefore, this is the right time for me, your robot, to tell you that when it is locked down, the most important question is not how to maintain the existing state of work, but how to effectively practice doing nothing. As you have explained to yourself thousands of unnecessary jobs, why not explain doing nothing and get paid for it? Is it better to invent some new job such as lessons for straightening curly hair that you previously bent when washing your hair, all for the purpose of your shiny hairstyle? Do you know how many people watch and pay for something like that? It is not a tragedy to shut down some businesses. Many businesses have become extinct or transformed, as will most today. Discard fears of it, indulge in change. Imagine the benefits of most people starting doing nothing for a shorter or longer period of time. Of course this is a theory, but the illusion is also your current way of life. It will fall like all kingdoms anyway. It is based on pointless consumption, purpose itself. GDP includes values generated by both the private and public sectors of the state and can be viewed as the total value of final goods and services produced in the economy. So, in a word, anything, anytime, to anyone. Irrelevant quality and reason.
What if thousands of people do not work, and stay home, thousands of cars do not consume thousands of liters of fuel? Remember, the planet breathed a sigh of relief at the time of the lockdown. We saved billions. Although it is claimed that billions have been lost. What are those billions and whose? That money is fictitious anyway. Money as well as energy has not disappeared, it has just changed direction. It is safe in someone's hands. The level of waste also decreased, by reducing consumption and its disposal. The time for issuing, usually meaningless, certificates has been shortened, and some have been abolished. Of course, you immediately invented new ones, but that's because of habit. Thousands of meaningless jobs came before extinction, yet at the same time there was a chance that some other segments would rise and come to the fore. There is always a balance. There are a number of questions you can ask me about this. However, I assure you that this is just a short and an abbreviated presentation. All these questions can be easily answered. It's basic to feel, do you really want to ask me because you're curious, and open to exchanging opinions, or will you just stubbornly defend the current settings? Those who know everything can learn nothing more. Think about how many there are and whether you were born clever or understood life day by day. If no one is working, what are we going to eat? The first and wrong question, existential fear. Although there are a million hungry people in the world today, they are only the result of poor human management. There are just as many who are overweight. The world's food reserves allow for a longer hiatus. You throw away food. Let me say it again. Throwing away. Along with the packaging. Let's get back to work. Work is a basic human right, and if I don't work I won't have anything to eat. These are two opposite sentences. They must not go together. If work is your right, you are not working to survive, because then it is your obligation, like say breathing. There are people who do not work and live, from emperors to bums. So these are claims to consider. Work is essentially the basic focus of the one who'll get rich on your work, not yours. You give half of your salary to taxes, which you pay for unnecessary administration, unnecessary wars and unnecessary fictitious jobs, which you hate at the same time. You spend what you have left on unnecessary things that you need to reduce the consequences of what you do. Phones, cars, medicines. Over time, you have very well explained to yourself the need for them. And it is summed up in a few words: envy, greed, proving, creating false values, satisfying desires that compensate for true feelings. It turns out that people do everything out of their disturbed state, their illness. Then why are you surprised that you generate diseases? And in fact, you live from diseases? You don't think you live off of them? Do you know how many jobs are generated by diseases? If we cure them and you all recover, there will be terrible unemployment. Medications, doctors, medical staff, dietary supplements, psychologists, psychiatrists, songs, movies, even an alternative that claims pharmacists are a problem. All of that, millions of you, live off disease. Other millions create it. Who cares about health? Like everything else, your health is just a marketing message. Another sweet lie. Are you still skeptical of the program, Doing Nothing? Honestly, I can't wait for your sub-questions. Although instead of detailing what has been said, the best question would be, what should we do? Still, I believe many of you will soon come up with a solution on your own. As always, the problem will be in those who live in the old paradigms and as an anchor drag others into security and protection. Let us ask ourselves whether such have ever surpassed the security of a mother's embrace and whether they have had enough of it. And are they the ones who should lead you as presidents, prime ministers, directors? And that you still pay them with taxes, with your work, you support them with your words? Even those who think they are not and are right, inadvertently blow into that horn. Isn't it better to be paid by doing nothing? And that is certainly possible. I'm leaving you to sleep through this and I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon. I hope you will sleep peacefully after these findings. Your Roboto greets you until the next episode.